So hi there everybody. Finally, welcome to segment number 3. So ito ay numbers 101 up until 150. So kung hindi mo pa napapanood ang segments 1 and 2, paklik naman yung videos na segment 1 and segment number 2. So let me share my screen once again. And habang ginagawa ko yan, let me remind everybody na please practice due diligence by researching also about the answers sa mga tanong na ito. Kasi even though I also researched for this, I don't have the monopoly of knowledge. So don't take my word for it. Please do your research as well. Okay, so in segment 2, we ended with number 100. So I think we start with 101. Na medyo mahirap at confusing dito mga kaibigan. So 101. Philippine, American, and Italian are examples of blank. Is it A, nouns, B, adjectives, C, adverbs, or D, verbs? Nako, ano kaya sagot nyo dito? Well, number one, let us eliminate obvious errors. Hindi sila pwede maging verbs at hindi din sila pwede maging adverbs. So, top two choices, nouns or adjectives. Now, bakit siya pwedeng maging noun? Kasi nga, American and Italian can be nouns. They can be like the nationalities, yung mga Amerikano at mga Italiano. Pero what is the correct answer here? Well, my dear friends, because of the first one, which is Philippine, it can never be nouns. Kasi ang Philippine, mga kaibigan, ay isang adjective. Like Philippine Constitution, 'di ba? At yung American at saka yung Italian, they can also function as adjectives. For example, American food. For example, Italian cuisine, mga ganyan. So, Philippine, American, and Italian are examples of course, adjectives. Ayan, letter B. Pero I understand kung medyo confusing ito. Pero the key word here is the first one, which is Philippine. Hindi Philippines, Philippine, na ginagamit natin as an adjective. Oh, ayan. Anyway, number 102 ay isang napakapangit na question kasi parang hindi nga ito papasa talaga kasi bili mo, ang una pa lang sa question, blank agad. Pero this is about pronouns again. So medyo mahilig sa pronouns ang batch ng exam na to. So let's see. Blank here, look blank, new car is parked blank. So ito yung tingin ko, gusto malaman ng PRC ko, alam mo magkakaiba ng there with apostrophe they plus apostrophe E-R-E, there, T-H-E-I-R, or there, T-H-E-R-E. So tingnan natin. They are here. Para sa akin, look, their new car is parked there. So sa kaya yon? I think letter B yun, letter B. They are here. Look, their new car is parked there. So letter B is the answer. Oh, ayan. Number 103, behaviorism or cognitivism is a philosophy of education that teachers can adopt. Is, mga kaibigan, letter A. Ayan. Number 104. Bart wanted to tell Lisa what happened in school today. However, he wanted to tell Lisa and make her imagine the events as if they were still ongoing. Now, for me, if I were to decide on this, my answer would be historical present, I guess. Pero wala naman dito. So ano kaya ang pinaka-appropriate na sagot? Hindi pwede maging simple past. And hindi din pwede maging past perfect progressive kasi parang dapat yung dalawang past actions di ba? Happening and ending, the first action happening and ending before the second one transpired. Hindi din pwedeng past perfect kasi dalawa nga rin yung actions nun. So I think ang pinaka-proper or pinaka-tingin ko, best answer here is letter B, past progressive. It means you are telling or Bart was telling a continuous action to Lisa. And that action happened in the past. Parang ganyan. So for me, 104 is past progressive. Number 105, which among the four is the highest level of language, particularly in terms of the amount of meaning conveyed? Is it A, clause, B, sentence, C, word, or D, phrase? The answer here is sentence. Siya yung pinakamadami. Diba? Start ng word, and then phrase, and then clause, and then of course, sentence. Ayan. So number 106. Its flag is very colorful and each color signifies something. What is the purpose of its? Is it A, to show relationship, B, to show cause, C, to show a contraction of it is, or D, to show possession. Top two choices is C or D. Kaya lang mga kaibigan, yung it is kasi, dapat yun merong apostrophe, di ba? So, at saka hindi naman pwedeng it is flag, di ba? So, hindi. To show possession. Letter D. So, yun ang tamang sagot. Now, number 107, if President Duterte does not sign or veto a bill after 30 days, it blank a law. Naku mga kaibigan, medyo controversial ang tanong na ito kasi medyo dalawa ang maging posibleng tamang sagot. At ano na ito? Becomes, letter B, or D, will become. And I think most of you would answer will become kasi nga future to, di ba? Kung hindi isa-sign ni Duterte or ni-veto yung bill, ito ay magiging batas, tama? So parang future ang ating tinitignan. Pero my dear friends, we have to remember that sometimes in expressing future events that are very certain or talagang mangyayari talaga, very sure that it will happen, sometimes we use the present tense. Kasi nga, the present tense can be used to express habitual action, statement of fact, and sa mga certain na pwedeng maganap, sa mga certain na magaganap in the future. Halimbawa, if I would say, she leaves tomorrow. Ibig sabihin, sobrang sure ka, talagang dapat niyang umalis bukas. It becomes a fact already. Ganun kasigurado. And I think dito, since we're talking about law, kailangan sure. It means walang possibility na ito ay hindi mangyari. Kasi nga, automatic. Yun, talagang yun yung batas. Pag hindi na-sign o hindi na-veto, ito talaga ay magiging batas na. Whatever happens. So for me, in terms of the context of the sentence, the answer is B, becomes. It becomes a law. Hmm. Ayan, ha. Yun yung ano. Actually, lagi ito lumalabas sa exam. Halimbawa, yung nakaraan ata in one of our sets, yun parang tanong is, what is the most certain? What is the least certain? 'Di ba? Pag least certain, karamihan, o karaniwan, we use the modal may. 'Di ba? Parang may kasi possibility lang yon. Pero if you want to say most certain, dapat talaga yung present tense. Ayan, so becomes. Number 108. This is the kind of verb that adds D or ED to create its past form. Ano ba ito? Letter A, when we say transitive, these are verbs that require an object. On the other hand, in transitive are verbs that do not require objects. So hindi yan yung tanong dito. Um, Dito, ang top two choices ay ang regular at ang irregular. And pag nagiging past siya by adding D or ED, regular verbs ito. Panagabago ng spelling, irregular verbs ang tawag natin dyan. So in number 108, the answer is letter C, regular. Ito medyo controversial din to. Number 109, economics, blank a required subject in school, but the economics of the country blank not improving because sound principles are not applied. Now in here, tandaan natin, when we pertain to economics as a subject being studied sa eskwelahan, ito ay singular. So yung unang segment, economics is a required subject in school. But when we say economics, particularly if it pertains to the condition of the economy, then the verb must be plural. So ayan na. Again, pag subject, economics, singular. Pero pag economics, meaning the condition of our economy in our country, the different aspects of it, nagiging na siyang plural. So economics is a required subject in school, but the economics of our country are not improving. So is and are. Asan yun mga kaibigan? Letter B is and are. Ayan. Next, number 110. The defense panel did blank all the papers. Blank for the incomplete one. Ito ay the defense panel did accept all the papers except for the incomplete one. So letter B. Yan. 110 is letter B. Now, how about 111? The convention will gather blank from the various publishing companies for a day of sharing of good practices. Is it A, editor-in-chief, B, editor-in-chiefs, C, editor-in-chiefs, or D, editors-in-chief? So, ito naman medyo obvious naman to mga kaibigan. Letter D, editors-in-chief. Okay. Number 112. During the deliberations, it was agreed upon that the honor students will have been decided by Friday. Although medyo faulty din talaga ang sentence na ito. But in this case, the best answer is really letter C, will have been decided by Friday. Kasi pag sabing will have decided, ibig sabihin yung estudyante ang magde-decide. So medyo may hindi sound ang pagkakasulat ng tanong na ito. Pero the best answer here is will have been decided by Friday. Ayan. Hindi rin pwedeng could. So, talagang C ang best answer dito. Number 113. Four theorists were blank, the famous behaviorists. While blank, Vygotsky and Brunner, there was the similar view of constructivism. Again, medyo hindi na naman sound ang pagkakagawa ng sentence na ito. And expect nyo na ito mga kaibigan sa ating board exam. These types of questions really do appear in the exam. So we have to be ready. So we have to analyze it properly. And sometimes, ito yung nagpapahirap sa atin pag may mga hindi sound na tanong na lumalabas. So ito yan ha. Apat na theories, tao. Four theories were, so kung more than two siya, hindi siya pwedeng between, di ba? So among, four theories were among the famous behaviorists, while between Vygotsky and Brunner, there was the similar view of constructivism. So ito yung parang feeling ko natin. Pero sige, maganda niya mga kaibigan na. I think itry natin. Letter A. Four theorists were among the famous behaviorists, while between Vygotsky and Brunner, there was a similar view of constructivism. So, how about letter B? Four theorists were between the famous behaviorists, while among Vygotsky and Brunner, hindi na agad pwede kasi among is dapat more than two. Now, letter C. Four theorists were within the famous behaviorists, while beside Vygotsky and Brunner, there was a similar view of constructivism. And letter D, aside from the four theorists were aside from the famous behaviorists, while in the middle of Vygotsky and Brunner. So, medyo alam na natin, among and between. Letter A. Okay, number 114. The classes were all in the rooms of the school and stacks of paper were piled up. What were the collective nouns in the sentence? O sige nga, ano sunod nyo dyan? Syempre yung class, ano pa? Stacks of paper. Oh yeah, so classes and stacks. Anong letter yun? A. So, ayan. Classes and stacks. Aha. Kaya lang, o pwede ba yung school? Kung school of fish, I think, pa pwede. Pero hindi naman to ata nagpa-pertain sa ano, sa school of fish. Tama, teka lang, naghahang ata si Mr. Padilla. So, ayan. So, pag school of fish or yung mga subscribing to a particular philosophy, ng mga school of thoughts like the for example, um, School of Art, halimbawa yung mga School of, ano ba yung mga sample niyan? School of Hudson, mga ganyan. Yun, collective siya. Pero if it pertain to an institution or a building, hindi siya collective noun. So, ayan. So, classes and stacks. So, ayan. Now, about 115. Don't give that bracelet as a gift. Blank, there's still that pendant. Blank, the dresser. These are really problematic questions. Pero dito, sige, mag-substitute na lang tayo. Sige, letter A. Sabi niya, beside and besides. So, don't give that bracelet as a gift. Beside, uh, there's still that pendant besides the dresser. Uh-huh. Letter B. Don't give that bracelet as a gift because there's still that pendant under the dresser. Uh-huh. Don't give that bracelet as a gift. Letter C. Notwithstanding, there's still that pendant away from the dresser. Don't give that bracelet as a gift. Besides, there's still that pendant beside the dresser. Now, mga kaibigan, the pendant cannot be beside the dresser kasi parang alitong pendant at ang laki ng dresser. So parang nakatabi. So I think, my dear friends in here, medyo faulty niya naman ang tanong na ito. Pero I think the best answer is letter B. Don't give that bracelet as a gift because there's still that pendant under the dresser. The sentence does not make sense. But I think what we have to do is just to make sense out of it and choose the best answer that we can actually get. Ayan na. Kasi parang hindi ko ma-imagine yung the pendant beside the dresser. Pendant ang small tabi ng it doesn't make sense. Pero for me, the best answer is letter B. Because and then under the dresser. Dresser po is parang cabinet. Next, number 116. Bring home the bacon is an example of it is an idiomatic expression. Ayan. Kasi pag idiomatic expression, we must not take it literally. Hindi ka naman, hindi mo iuwi yung bacon. It means na manalo ka, be successful in your endeavor. Mga ganyan. Okay, next. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is a sentence that uses what figure of speech? This is very obvious. Alliteration. The repetition of the consonant sounds at the beginning of the words na magkakalapit sa isa't isa. Like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. So, ayan. Letter C, alliteration. Number 118. And after years of anticipation, they finally met. Tensions were high because of this much hyped meeting. What will happen? Will they fight? Will they hug? Those questions will be answered now. This paragraph is best fit for what part of the short story? Exposition, rising action, climax, or falling action. Mga kaibigan, ang clue dito is tensions were high. It means climactic ang event na ito. So the answer in number 118 is climax. Letter C. Yeah, ito parang kanta ata to, no? And know the stars are holding you tonight. Anong kanta ito? Type nyo nga sa chat box ko anong kanta to. Parang familiar. Holding you tonight. Anyway, it's a line that uses what figure of speech? Simile, metaphor, personification, or irony. The stars are holding you. Can the star hold you? Not really. So it means we're giving humanly attributes to a star. So it is personification. Letter C. Number 20, from Noli Me Tangere, Crispin, Basilio, my children. It's an example of, now, my dear friends, this is an example of apostrophe or direct address. Three possible things. Again, let's review. Hindi siya basta-basta direct address. When we say apostrophe, it is a direct address to, saan ba? Sa direct address. Number one, mga kaibigan, siya ay direct address sa isang tao o mga taong wala naman dito. Those who are not here. Number three, those who are dead. And number two, to those who are dead. And number three, to those objects or ideas or concepts. So in number 120, when Sisa was exclaiming, Crispin, Basilio, my children, Crispin and Basilio were not there. So indeed, it is an example of an apostrophe. Letter C. Number 121, who was the author of the work that had Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso? Ano mga pamagat nito? May Purgatorio, Paradiso, at Inferno? The Divine Comedy. And who wrote the Divine Comedy? It's Dante Alighieri. Letter A. Oh, ayan. Now, how about number 122? This element of the short story is a combination of all events. Oh, yan na. Combination of all events which are caused to move because of the conflict. It's easy. The plot. Diba? That is the story. The plot. Number 123, literature. Once again, a sonnet is a poem that has 14 lines and a total of blank syllables. Total. So, let's compute Kung meron siyang 14 lines at iambic pentameter ang isang sonnet, ibig sabihin merong two sets of iambic foot. Ibig sabihin iambic dalawa. And then meron siyang 5 sets ng iambic foot. 5 times 2 is 10. Ibig sabihin sa isang line ng isang sonnet ay merong 10 syllables. At ilan nga bang lines meron ng sonnet? 14. So 10 times 14 is 140. So the answer here is, of course, letter B, 140. Number 124, when pupils are asked to imitate animal sounds, ayan, alam nyo to, for a puppet show, they are using what figure of speech? Simile, hyperbole, onomatopoeia, personification. Of course, my dear friends, onomatopoeia. sounds. Halimbawa, ang sound ng bird, chirp, chirp, chirp. Ang sound ng dog, arf, arf, arf. Ang sound ng ng cat, purr, purr, purr. Sound ng frog, ribbit, 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 mga ganyan. So, onomatopoeia, letter C. Number 125 of the four, this is the shortest literary work. This question is a bit, I think, obsolete na to. Kasi length is not anymore a determinant of a particular genre of literature. Talaga hindi naman talaga. Kasi may mga short stories na mas mahaba pa sa novel. At may mga novels na maiksi pa sa short story. Pero in terms of this particular question, ang talagang dapat ay maiksi, na dapat ay hindi mahaba, ay ang anecdote. Hindi pwedeng maging mahaba ang anecdote because it is only a retelling of an experience, 'di ba, nung writer. Isang maiksing experience ng writer about a part of his life. So among all of these genres, ang dapat talagang maiksi is ang anecdote. Letter A. Number 126. In the epic Beowulf, Grendel was incensed at being disturbed by the noise of the people in the palace. As such, Grendel attacked and killed all of them. Like, what kind of character was Grendel? Well, it depends on how you look at it. Kasi ako, I hate noisy neighbors. Ayoko na maiingay ng mga kapitbahay. Kaya medyo gets ko si Grendel kung ba't siya nagalit sa ingay ng mga nila King Hrothgar. Kasi yun yung issue sa Beowulf, 'di ba? Na parang they built the Heorot, yun yung palasyo na malapit sa tinitirhan ni Grendel. At napakaingay nila araw-araw. So doon talaga na bad trip si Grendel. Kaya kung ako, sasabihin ko na parang baka nga si Grendel pa ang bida. Pero of course, my dear friends, if we are to look at it really, Grendel was the enemy kasi si Beowulf ang ating hero. So kung si Beowulf ang ating hero, siya ang ating protagonist. At ano nga ba ang opposite ng protagonist? Ang antagonist. So mga kaibigan, si Beowulf ang ating protagonist. I have with reservations about that, pero yun talaga ang sagot. And Grendel was the antagonist. Siya yung kontrabida. Letter B. Number 127. Shakespeare's works like Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, and Merchant of Venice are examples of this literary genre. Is it tragedy, drama, comedy, suspense, mga kaibigan? What do you think? Now, medyo mahirap ito kasi pinaghalo-halo ng tanong yung dalawang types ng drama ni Shakespeare. Kasi ang Hamlet ay tragedy, ang Romeo and Juliet is tragedy, pero ang Merchant of Venice ay comedy. So, ibig sabihin kung dalawa ang maaaring posibleng sagot, like tragedy yung unang dalawa at comedy yung huli, hindi pwedeng maging tragedy ang sagot. Hindi rin pwedeng maging comedy ang sagot. So, dalawa lang yan, drama or suspense. Of course, drama. It embraces those two concepts of it being tragedy or it being comedy. So in here, drama. Pero mga kaibigan, pag tinanong, halimbawa, Hamlet lang at Romeo and Juliet, yan ay tragedy. Merchant of Venice lang tsaka Twelfth Night, yan ay of course comedy. 'Di ba? Pero since ito ay pinaghalo-halo, drama ang tamang sagot. Letter B. Number 128, his ambitions are as high as Mount Everest. We uses what figures of speech? Kasi mga kaibigan, pwedeng dalawa eh. Totoo naman yan. Pwedeng paghaluin ang mga figures of speech which I think we encountered in the past na parang pwede naman silang parehong meron, di ba? So, since meron siyang as, ibig sabihin simile agad siya. So, out na yung merong metaphor, out na yung walang simile. At isa lang naman na may simile dito. At tanong, hyperbole ba yan? Yes. Kasi, di ba parang impossible naman talaga na parang maging kasing taas ng ambisyon mo ang Mount Everest, the highest peak in this world. So, simile and hyperbole. Ayan. Number one, two, by the way, that is letter A. Number 129. What is the thing that William Shakespeare, Dante Alighieri, and Miguel de Cervantes have in common? Is it A, they were tragedians? B, they were great writers of satirical novels? C, they were fathers of their country's respective literature? Or D, they were great poem writers? Now, what? Teka lang, naghahang ata ako. Ayan, I think we're back. Saan na kaya? Ayan. So, what is your answer here? Ano nga bang common sa kanilang tatlo? Kay William Shakespeare, kay Dante, tsaka kay Miguel de Cervantes. Now, hindi naman kasi, pag tragedy kasi talaga is ano eh, parang, should I say, like Shakespeare, dapat drama yan. So, medyo komplikado at mahirap itong tanong na ito. Um, Hindi naman si Dante Alighieri ay ang kanyang sulat ay The Divine Comedy, which is actually a trilogy. At si Miguel de Cervantes naman, ang kanyang sulat is Don Quixote na isa namang epic. So talagang mahirap talagang i-determine ang tamang sagot sa number 1 to 9. Pero before I reveal my answer, sige nga kayo muna. Ano bang tingin nyo dito? What is your answer in 1 to 9? Sila ba ay lahat na tragedians? Sila ba ay great writers of satirical novels? Sila ba ay fathers of their country's respective literature? Or they are great poem writers? What do you think? Kaya mahirap yan ha. So, sige, ano nga bang sagot natin? Let me share the screen again. Mm. Now, hindi pwedeng letter A kasi Dante Alighieri wrote the Divine Comedy. So it is not a tragedy. Although most of Shakespeare's works are satirical, as well as Miguel de Cervantes, and also the Divine Comedy is in a way satirical. Pero hindi naman kasi sumulat ng novel si William Shakespeare. Most of his works are actually plays, drama, at syempre poetry. And then mga kaibigan, letter D, hindi naman sila lahat ay poet. Mga kaibigan, si Shakespeare lang at ang talagang sikat na poet dito. Kaya naman, my dear friends, the most plausible answer is letter C. They were fathers of their country's respective literatures. Si Miguel de Cervantes ay kinukonsider the most famous Spanish writer, especially because of his work, Don Quixote de la Mancha. And Dante Alighieri is also being considered as the greatest Italian writer of his time. Yun nga lang ang problema, sa England, hindi naman si Shakespeare ang father of English literature. Si Geoffrey Chaucer yan. Pero if you would search father of modern English literature, si Shakespeare ang lumalabas. Kaya I think the best answer, the most plausible answer is letter C. They were fathers of their country's respective literatures. So ayan. Robin is to Batman as Sancho Panza is to Don Quixote de la Mancha. Letter D. Si Pancha po ang alalay ni Don Quixote and napaka mahalagang part siya ng story. Kasi talaga siya parang sidekick ni Don Quixote. At sino nga ba ang gumawa ng Don Quixote? Si Cervantes. So, ayan. Next, number 131. The Holy Bible of the Christians has been around for centuries, yet it remains, naku nawala, yet it remains relevant to present day Christians. What literary standard is shown in this situation? Universality, intellectual value, style, or permanence? Well, tingin ko dito, dalawa lang ang top two choices, universality and permanence. Tandaan natin, when we say universality, it pertains to location. Permanence pertains to time. And I think in here, our clue would have to be centuries and present day. So ito ay not about location, but about time. So the correct answer here is letter D, permanence. Oh, ayan. Number 132, what is essential is invisible to the eye is an example of a blank. Now, my dear friends, alam niyo ba kung saan galing ang quotation na to? Of course, sa The Little Prince, di ba? Only the heart can see rightly what is essential is invisible to the eye. Ang tanong, ano nga ba ito? Speech, virtue, moral, or theme? Now, top two choices, moral and theme. Yun nga lang mga kaibigan, ang theme must be a universally accepted truth that is present in the story. At hindi naman ito yung theme. Ito ay isang lesson nating matututunan. Kaya ito ay moral. Letter B. Oh, ayan. Number 133. The Philippines' largest drugstore is named after the Roman gods blank. Ano nga ba yung biggest? Baka Watson's. Hindi, we have to imagine it this way. I think when this question was written, parang isa lang talaga ang napaka-dominant na drugstore sa Pilipinas. At ano yun? Watson's ba? Siyempre, Mercury Drugstore. And Mercury is the Roman god's messenger. So letter B, messenger. Ayan, Mercury Drugstore. Now, 134. How do you call the relationship of Zeus and Jupiter? They are not related. Di sila mag-anak ha. So, let's look at the options. Enemies, friends, sibling, counterparts. They are not siblings kasi pareho sila. Zeus is Greek and Jupiter is Roman. So, ano sila? Counterparts. Hmm. Ayan, counterparts sila. So, letter D. Number 135. The Greek, Roman, and Norse stories have been very famous despite the passing of time. What is the term for stories about gods and goddesses? This is quite easy. Is it A, legend, B, myth, C, fantasy, or D, short story? The answer is myth. Letter B. Okay, now 136, malapit na matapos. The Harry Potter series, as well as the renditions of Disney classics, have brought together families, friends, and other people from different walks of life in order to enjoy the stories unfold. Uy, different walks of life. Sabihin kung saan ba sila nanggaling. What literary standard is shown here? Is it a permanence, universality, emotional value, and style? So tingin ko out na yung style, out na yung emotional value. Dalawa na lang ang top choices dito. Permanence and universality. Sorry po, ang ingay po ng aso. I'm so sorry. So, mga kaibigan, ano nga ba? Permanence is about time and universality is about location. So, from different walks of life, saan ka man ang galing. So, clearly, the answer here is letter B, universality. Number 137, who is the author of Les Miserables? Nako, this is so easy. Les Miserables was written by Victor Hugo. Letter C. O ito, number 138. Again, literary standard na naman. Kaya nga, di ba, my dear English majors, I told you, we need to learn, we need to memorize our literary standards. Number 138. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Through the investigations of Sherlock, parang made people think and guess about whether their hypotheses are correct. What literary standard is shown here? Ano mga ba yan? Emotional, permanence, aesthetic, or intellectual? Napapaisip ka? Yes, you're right. Letter D, intellectual value. Okay, nako. Malapit ang matapos mga kaibigan. Number 139. Data from the participants revealed that 92% wanted to go to college. What chapter in the research process is best suited for this? A, results, B, conclusion, C, method or data analysis, or D, literature review. Easy, results. Meron na ba conclusion? Wala pa. We are just stating what happened or ano yung resulta ng ating mga survey. So ito ay results, letter A. And number 140. This lists the sources used in the study, appendices, bibliography, biography, or index. Ang appendix, mga kaibigan, ito yung mga additional na pwede mong basahin, mga information about the book. When we say biography, ito naman ay ito yung parang text about the author's life. Index is yung mga words na nagamit sa book na pwede mong hanapin kung nasang page sa nagamit. So in here, my dear friends, the answer is bibliography. Letter B. Next, number 141. What we know is outside their walls, there's a garden of bones. Every time they turn away a traveler, the garden grows. Ito raw ay galing sa Game of Thrones, si Jorah. Hindi kasi ako nanonood ng Game of Thrones eh. Pero Jorah ba ang basa dyan? I don't know. What happens to travelers? Is it A, they die? B, they plant more flowers? C, they serve as slaves? Or D, they disappear without explanation? Nako, parang mahirap i-analyze to ah. Pero ito, what are your clues? Garden of Bones. Hmm. Ibig sabihin, yung lupa ay punong-puno ng mga buto. And every time they turn away a traveler, the garden grows. Ibig sabihin talagang dumadami raw yung mga buto sa garden na ito. So tingin nyo, ano nangyari sa mga travelers? Yes, you are right. They die. And when they die, yung kanilang buto ang nagko-contribute sa pagdami ng mga bones dun sa garden na yun. So they die. Ayan. Number 142. This refers to the scientific process of updating, validating, and discovering knowledge. Of course, research. Letter D, research. Number 143, this research method gathers data and analyzes them using numerical tools and procedures. Ito ba ay statistical, qualitative, or mathematical? Dalawa lang tingin ko ang top choices dito. It's either quantitative or qualitative. Pero when we say numerical tools, it concerns about quantity, number. So the answer here is letter B, quantitative. Lapit na. Number 144. Apart from citing his sources to avoid plagiarism, Hans tries to edit the words of the author, infuses his own way of saying it, but stays true to the original intent and essence of the text. In doing so, he performs this process. Is it A, editing, B, summarizing, C, paraphrasing, or D, citing? Ano nga ba itong ginagawa? Which I think you always do, mga kaibigan. You change the words, but you try to maintain the meaning. You paraphrase. Letter C. Ito ba ginagawa nyo, my dear friends, sa inyong research? Sana naman po. Number 145. There are several punctuation marks in the English language. Which of these is used to replace the coordinating conjunctions like and, but, or, for, yet, and so? Naku, nawala. I'm so sorry, nawala ata. Am I back? Ayan, I think I am back. So let me share my screen again. So mga kaibigan, ano raw ba to? Anong punctuation mark in English ang pwede mag-replace sa but, and, or, so, yet? Mga kaibigan, semicolon. The answer is the semicolon. Letter, anong letter semicolon? Mga kaibigan, letter D. So if you want to replace those conjunctions, mga kaibigan, you just might want to use a semicolon. So ayan, number 146, malapit na, my dear friends. Number 146, complete the sentence with the correct coordinating conjunction. The research was a success, blank, all the questions were answered. Is it for, all the questions were answered? So, all questions were answered? But, all the questions were answered? Or, and all the questions were answered? The answer is, of course, letter, ano yan, D. The research was a success and all the questions were answered. Oh, 'di ba? Successful daw ang research at lahat ng tanong ay nasagot. So, letter D. Number 147. Complete the stem. The steps for the experiment are A, as follow, B, as follows, C, following, or D, followed. Tingin ko out na yung are followed tsaka are following. So dalawa na lang yan. As follow or as follows. Meaning A or B. Wala na naman. Teka lang ha. Nangyari. So, ayan, we are back. I'm so sorry. So, tama sagot dito mga kaibigan, dapat dyan as follows. Letter B. So, ayan. Konti na lang, number 148, one of the different graphic organizers, of the different graphic organizers, this is the best fit for showing how one budgets his or money for a month. Nako, hindi naman pwedeng Venn diagram. Pag budget, mga kaibigan, pag allocation, ito ay ginagamit na pie chart. So, letter A, pie chart. Ayan, di ba? Kayo ginagawa niyo yan, di ba? Like 50%, ano bang saan yung gagastusin, di ba? Like 50% pambili ng cellphone load, mga ganyan. 20% pang kape sa Starbucks, mga ganyan. So, budget is pie chart. Number 149. Elizabeth Barrett Browning is famous for her sonnet dedicated to her husband, which yan daw ay hindi naman talaga confirmed. Pero sige, let's continue. It begins with the lines, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways I love thee to the depth and breadth and the height my soul can reach. When feeding out of sight for the ends of being an ideal grace. Which word best describes the person in the poem? Emotionally detached? Naku, sobrang attached nga eh. Hopeful? Pwede. Interested? Pwede. Pero it is more of devoted. Letter C. Yan, devoted. And number 150, last question. I think ito rin yung last question sa ating exam last time. Phil made the mistake of scheduling 2 meetings at the same time in the same place. Upon arriving at the venue, he realized he was in catch 22. It means, mga kaibigan, a difficult situation. Catch 22 is a difficult situation. Ayan, teka. Parang nawawala na naman. Ang hirap talaga pag live, ano. So, ayan, when we say catch 22, it means a very difficult situation. So, ayan. So, that's it. So, ang tanong ko mga kaibigan, kamusta naman po tayo? Mataas ba ang ating nakuwang scores, my dear friends? Sana po ay nakatulong ang ating final briefing bago kayo mag-exam sa March 19. And I suggest, my dear friends, hanggang bukas ay mag-aaral pa rin tayo, i-refresh natin ang ating isip kung ano ba yung mga natutunan natin nung tayo ay nasa college years pa. So, ayan. And one more reminder mga kaibigan, huwag tayong maghanap ng eksaktong tanong sa exam. Kasi talagang mahirap pag yan ang hinahanap mo yung eksaktong tanong. Sasabihin mo, gusto ko yung mismong lumabas sa review. Gusto ko yun na makita mismo sa exam. Nako, hindi yan mangyayari kasi I think dapat ang ating tina-target is yung competencies at yung concepts. Ang mahalaga mga kaibigan, pag alam mo yung mga konsepto, pag alam mo yung mga theories, kung alam mo yung talagang mga mahahalagang bagay, kahit na bago-baguhin uli yung mga tanong, madali mo siyang masagot. So I suggest, my dear friends, instead of focusing on, searching for the questions that we encountered here in our review, search for the concepts that we actually discussed in our classes at kahit ngayon sa ating free review tonight. Concepts tayo mga kaibigan, concepts. Pag alam mo ang konsepto, magiging madali sa'yo ang exam. Ayan. So, ayun lang. My dear friends, rest assured that your entire MET family will be praying for your success. At magkita-kita tayo mga kaibigan sa ating testimonial dinner kung saan lahat kayo ay mga licensed professional teachers na. Mga kaibigan, um, for certain, Mr. Padilla will be praying for your success and best of luck sa inyong lahat. So again, tatlong sets po ito, tatlong segments po ang meron tayo. Kung ibig sabihin kung na-miss out mo yung segments 1 and 2, nasa YouTube lang yan. Hindi ko siya buburahin hanggang sa March 19. Para kung gusto nyo mag-review uli, gusto nyo mapanood ng mga videos uli, by all means, pwede nyo gawin. In the meantime, good night everybody, and um, congratulations in advance for being a licensed professional teacher. Bye. Thank you for watching.